boy, saving the most controversial for the end. Welcome back. This is Wretched. We've been going through a long list of words, 18 of them to be exact so far, out of 20 gifts of the Spirit, and we've saved the last two that are kind of controversial for the end. So here we go. Time for today's word.
What's the word? A word of...
I was being sarcastic, which is another big word you'll learn in school.
What's the word on the street?
The word on the street is healings. Oh boy, here we go. This would be one of those gifts that is given to believers for the edification of the body, and it's a controversial one. So take it away, Todd. Thanks, Todd. Okay, Brainiac didn't want to be a part of this because he doesn't know that he agrees with what I'm going to share with you. And frankly, I don't know that I agree with it either. And guess what? The guy who put this together, he doesn't even know if he agrees with it. So let me just present this to you in that spirit. This might be an explanation for the gift of healings, because these days, needless to say, some people are getting a little carried away.
Okay, lift your hands up for me, okay? I had to be obedient to the Lord, sir.
Lovely. The only faith healer, you need to visit a doctor when he's done with you. Alrighty, are there modern day faith healers? The fellow who put this together is Pastor Bruce Conold of Egan Hills Church. And he starts off with the verse that explains this gift of healing. It's 1 Corinthians 12:9. Specifically, it says, some people get the gifts of healings. And this is our key word right here. And to build this case that these aren't miraculous, kick somebody in the guts and they'll be healed, or knock them over with a white jacket and they'll be healed. But no, he says these are emotional healers, psychological healers, people who are spiritually hurting, who can heal you because they've got just that way about them. Do you know anybody like that? And to make his case for it, he basically divides these gifts that we get into two different categories. Here we go. In the Old Testament, there's the thing called signs and wonders. In the Old Testament, there were two words that were used, signs and wonders, hote and mophet. I think they were like the fifth and sixth stooge. Not many people saw those because after Shem, it kind of went down. Miraculous signs to authenticate a messenger and his message. So this is like Moses parting the Red Sea, people rising from the dead, monster miracles, so the people who saw these miracles would go, wow, that messenger, he must be the real deal. That's what a signs and wonders gift is in the Old Testament. In the New Testament, you've got two different words which are going back to our hote and mophet, semeion kaiteros, the divine confirmation of human testimony. Again, Jesus did these things. Matthew 10, 2 Corinthians 12:12. Also, the apostles were given this gift to authenticate their message because they didn't have a Bible. So these were like big, woo, showy types of miracles to authenticate the message and the messenger. Now, this is a different grouping of gifts. It's the charismatic gifts. These are the ones that are given for the helping of the church, for the sake of the body, not for the sake of the outsiders, but for the sake of the insiders. Old Testament, there's no examples. This is a uniquely New Testament gift that is given here. We don't see it in the Old, we see it in the New because it's for the church. That's really important to remember here. 1, it's a distinctly New Testament concept. 2, it is given by the Holy Spirit. 3, it's given to every member of the body. And signs and wonders were just given to very, very few people. So we got to keep that in mind too. Everybody gets a charismatic gift. Very few, like a handful of people, actually have these signs and wonders types of gifts. What exactly is this charismata hematon, the gifts of healings? This is what Bruce Conold said. Hema, which is a noun, versus hiasis, which is a noun, equals healing. I know this is a little complicated. Hang in there with me. Both of these nouns are used in the New Testament for healings. And this is where Greek comes in. Hiasis, from the same verb, is used 3 times in Luke to describe literal, miraculous healings, like, wow. But then, hema, from the same verb, has no New Testament definition, but it is used 10 times in the Septuagint for spiritual healings. So, based on this Greek study, and again, this isn't one of those deals where I build a church on it, but it's pretty compelling stuff. It seems that the grammar allows that these aren't miraculous healings, but spiritual, emotional, psychological type of healings. can we conclude that the gift of healing is primary spiritual, emotional, or psychological healing based on that? But remember, there's more to it than just grammar. If so, if what this guy is saying is true, it fits the original language. That's really, really important, that the word study actually works instead of just kind of stretching. Now, you'll have to decide if he's stretching it and pulling it, this hiyama hiasis business. But it seems like it's a pretty reasonable word study, and the way the Bible tends to use it in this context is for those spiritual healings. Second, if this is true, it fits the edifying purposes of charismata. Signs and wonders, so that people go, wow, the guy's real. Charismatic gifts are for the body, that it's for the edifying purpose. Number three, the non-spectacular nature of other charismata. Think about the other charismatic gifts that Brainiac went through. They were all for the body, for edification, and they weren't showy types of things. Typically, they'd be preaching, they'd be teaching, they would be things to help the body, gifts of service, feeding the poor, helping people, giving your money away, service gifts and speaking gifts, and not big showy whoop-de-doos. The current ministry of many individuals within the church. If what this guy is saying is true, this kind of makes sense, because don't you know somebody who has the gift of healing? You know, that warm person, that individual who just understands when something horrible happens. I got to talk to that person because they're just so... Sometimes people think that of me. That's a lie. Okay, is that true or not? I don't know. Would ask you to consider it, because I got to tell you something. We've seen a wee bit of an abuse of this healings business, and it's not that I'm trying to say, oh, your whole denomination is a terrible thing. No, just trying to do a reasonable word study, because it seems to make sense, and we always want to be biblical. Discuss, and until tomorrow, thanks for letting me do a word study. Go serve your king.